LHS Live, every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Where you'll hear from new guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based, student-driven. And now, your host, Joe Roberts.
Good morning, Panther Nation, and welcome to another episode of LHS Live. I'm Joe Roberts, and we have our very special guest, Miss Betty Runkle, here with us today. Betty Runkle of the Health Fix on Main Street in Liberty TX. Last time we were on the show, not you, me, I was super yellow. Today I'm super orange, and we're going to try to find somewhere in the middle as we're moving along. Oh, am I super blue? All right, the producer's always in my ear. He's always telling me stuff. Thank you for being with us, Miss Runkle. We've got so much to talk about. I feel like we could do multiple episodes just with you.
Yeah.
All
Glad to be here.
Let's ease into this thing. You are doing something really special with the Valley Players very shortly.
Right. So we're putting on a Valley Players Christmas Follies showcase, and what that is going to be is a Christmas show outlining and demonstrating the many talented actors and actresses and singers that we have. A lot of times some of the younger actors don't get a chance to have a lead role or a lead song, and so this is going to give all of those players a chance to demonstrate their talents to us. So whether it's singing, dancing, skits, that kind of stuff. And so it's going to be a lot of fun.
So you've already got this thing cast, right? Or do you need more people?
I can always use more people, right?
You had auditions this last Sunday and Monday.
Correct,
and
yes.
You had a handful of people show
I did.
up?
We had I have 15 in the show right now.
Okay.
But there's plenty of jobs for everyone. If you don't want to get on stage and be the center of attention, then there's certainly backstage things people can do. We always need help there.
And this show's really going to kick off the Liberty area Christmas goings-on, I would imagine, right?
Right, because Country Christmas Parade is the Wednesday after the show.
Okay, and your show is going to be on December 4th and
5th.
December 5th.
Right, so we'll have a matinee on Sunday the 5th, and then the show on the 4th will be at the regular nighttime, 7.
Okay, 7 and 2, right?
Correct,
If I
yes,
remember correctly.
right.
I don't know why I've been doing this for so long, and I still, is it 7 or 7:30?
Oh, I know. I'm
And you've
I'm
done
the
it
same.
even longer than I have. That's not an old joke. That's just
you had to bring up the
information.
old thing. So yeah, I've been in Valley Players off and on since I was 19. My first role was in Little Abner, and I was Moonbeam McSwine, which Jimmy Sterling still calls me Moonbeam. So
Oh, he will latch on to a name,
I
and
know.
he will just. That's what you're going to be. You have to get on board with that.
and that's a couple decades ago.
Oh,
So
see, you said decades. I didn't say that. That was all you. Okay, so great. Valley Players, and again, it's so nice that the Valley Players are up and running again after that hiatus
Right.
because of situations that I shall not name.
right.
All right, so now let's jump into the nuts and bolts of really why you're here today, and that's because you are Dr. Betty Runkle.
Correct.
All right, now, I need you to tell me, because I know, but I don't know that I know.
Right.
You are not an MD, you're an ND, right?
Right. ND, Doctor of Naturopathic Medicine.
Okay, so what is the difference between an ND and an MD?
So an ND, a naturopath, is what typically I'm called, is someone who employs holistic, whole body, natural, herbal, nutritious practices to aid the body in healing itself. An MD is, of course, a medical doctor. They go to school for many, many years and can do surgeries and prescribe medication. We don't do any of that. I'm not cutting on anybody. I'm strictly, and there's about, over 50 what we call modalities that are covered under the umbrella of naturopathy. My specialties are mind, body, and nutrition. And so that's where I live. I do work a little bit with emotions and how the mindset affects the body physically.
Okay, so it feels like maybe you're a cross between a medical doctor and like not a psychiatrist, like a psychologist, maybe
So maybe a counselor,
Oh, is that better? Okay.
a nutritionist, and a medical something or the other. So we really shy away from the medical world because one, it sort of conflicts with some of the beliefs and practices that we use. The other is that it's not legal for me
Right.
to do anything medical. So
Now, you didn't just get off your couch one day and said, "Hey, I'm an ND." You
Nope.
actually went to
No.
school, right?
I did. So I graduated from Liberty High School, 1984.
Woohoo. Yes.
And I went to Lee College first, majored in natural science, microbiology, went to A&M after that. Undergrad was in microbiology and immunology. Thought I wanted to be a medical doctor. Ended up after college, and I had a double major actually, vocal performance was the other. I dropped the vocal performance because it wasn't conducive to making money.
Oh, right,
And so,
right.
and needed to get on with things. So I went ahead and entered into the petrochemical industry. I was a lab rat for almost 30 years. Ended up at the end of my career in quality management. So I know a little about a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And so really that was just paving the way for me to do what I do now. And I retired from my lab rat career about 7 years ago to do naturopathy full time. And I got into that because my second child was very sick as a young boy, baby really. And I was looking for answers, and the medical community wasn't able to help us. And I got very frustrated, and I'm a researcher, so I started researching what can I do to help him. I found a naturopath. I didn't even know what a naturopath was in Houston. Went to her, and my son was 8 at the time, but he'd been sick since he was 4. Really, before that, we just didn't know what it was. He'd had 4 surgeries by the time he was 8, very, very sick, very heavily medicated. And went to the naturopath in Houston, and in 30 days, he was completely well, and he is 26 years old now and has never been sick again.
Wow, that's we call it a miracle, right?
It was a miracle, and it was a divine appointment for me to move from being the cause of the toxicity problems in the world as a petrochem manufacturer into being part of the solution.
So you're looking at more of like root causes of things,
Right.
and trying to, instead of putting a Band-Aid on something and
Right. So we look at the root cause. We address the body as a whole. I always tell my clients, I can't take your head off and you survive that, so we have to leave the head intact, and we have to deal what's going on between your ears first and foremost. So mindset is huge. And, making sure that you're removing toxins from your environment. That's what you eat, what you hear, what you see, what you ingest and take into your body through different mechanisms, and also what your perception of that is. So we all go through stress, and we all go through trauma and all these different things, but it matters how you perceive that. And so if your body is flooded with stress all the time, or what you perceive as stress, the reality is that your body sends signals and messages throughout to try to correct that, because your brain just wants to be safe, and it just wants to be calm. When it's not, and when your body is not safe, then there's this cascade of chemicals that go through your body. Those chemicals cause things to happen. For instance, allergies are something that a lot of people struggle with down here, ragweed specifically.
Oh, don't get me started.
And so I used to be, 10, 12 years ago, I was so allergic to ragweed, I was anaphylactic. That means that my face would swell up, my throat would swell up, I couldn't breathe, and I would carry an EpiPen, a rescue inhaler, to get me through. And that was just, if I walked from my car to my office, I would have to have 10, 15 minutes to try to recover.
So you must have been like a prisoner in your own house, I would imagine.
During September and October,
Oh.
I didn't go outside. And I mean, the only way I went outside was to go to my office. And so, and I worked in down the chemical corridor, which is LaPorte, Bay City, Pasadena, not Bay City, Bay Area Boulevard and Pasadena. The toxicity levels that I was inhaling was contributing to that toxicity level. So now I have zero allergies whatsoever. I could stand in a field of ragweed and
Oh.
it not affect me.
That's so amazing. All right, you said you're a researcher. So I want to throw this out at you. When you say research, you don't mean you got on Facebook
Right.
and you found a meme. You don't mean you went to the old Googles
No.
and you typed in a term and you read the first article that came up.
No, and I love that you said that way, because you know me. Research involves looking at all aspects of the science behind things. So when I research, I look at the medical studies. I look at different perspectives of that protocol or herb or nutritious substance or whatever it is. I'm looking at it from all angles, and I'm validating, which is so important that people understand that research must be validated. I validate it by going and checking other sources. I validate it by looking at how was this research funded, what was the metrics behind it. So looking at the math behind it is how many were in the sample, what were the other conditions that the sample had to go through. So it's not enough to say, oh, we did research, we tested 30 people on this one thing, and 29 of them survived. That's not research.
And I'm glad that you said that. I'm looking at research and I see people all the time, and they're pulling different facts and figures and articles, and they may have 4 or 5 different places that they're pulling from, but if they have 4 of them are actually sourcing the first one, and so
Right.
really they only have one
Yeah.
and not 5, and a lot of folks don't understand that. And you've got the training to be able to parse through all that medical lingo. You look at the what do they call them, a brief, not a brief, what is it when it's the whatever the little blurb about the article is, I
The
forget.
abstract.
There you go, the abstract.
Yeah.
So you look at that and it just seems like Greek,
Right.
but you've got
It
the
can
training
be.
to
Well,
get
I
through
think
that.
that's intentional sometimes. I think that a lot of people, researchers, when they're not real, and this is just my opinion, it's worth what you paid for it. Some of those, I think that the writers and the researchers are clouding it so much because they really didn't come to any conclusion.
Right.
Or they really didn't want to say what they really wanted to say, but they want to keep their grants.
Right,
So they
okay.
say what they need to say to get the abstract or to get the funding that they need. And that's a shame,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, no doubt about that.
science is just the observation of living organisms, or that's biology. So science is the observation of things that we don't understand. And so my dad was a scientist. He has a PhD in soil chemistry from A&M, also University of Arkansas, and he's a brilliant man. And I was destined to be a scientist because I didn't have a choice not to be. And so, but he always taught us, he never gave us conclusions. He told us, what are you looking at? What are you seeing? What are you learning from that? What's your conclusion? So I learned really quickly to draw my own conclusions, to think critically, to look at things from different perspectives. And it matters, especially now more than ever.
Yeah. So he showed you where the water was, but you had to figure out where you were going to drink from.
Well, I had to
whatever.
figure out it was water
Oh, yeah,
first.
okay. Oh, Panther Nation, we are about halfway through LHS Live on this wonderful Wednesday, November 10th. Oh, Marine Corps birthday. Hoorah for me. Betty Runkle with us today. You own the Health Fix, and you purchased that from Carol Bond. And since you have purchased that, a lot of changes over there, right?
Yeah, so exciting stuff. I purchased the store, I think January will make 4 years.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it had been that long.
It might, I think it's 4 years. So the store itself is, just a vitamin and herb shop, and you can come and get your nutritional needs met, your supplements, and get some really good advice. We have staff that's fully trained. In particular, I have Charlotte Sullivan there. She's a CNHP, and that is Certified Natural Health Professional. She's gone to school. She's working on becoming an ND at some point. In addition to that, we have online training through many different vendors and agencies that help us to learn as much as we can. What's the latest and greatest thing coming down the line? She can help you, I can help you, and then we have Jana Swarthout and my husband, Robert Runkle, are there also to assist. They work more, we also own the Pack, Ship, and Copy, which is right next door, but we're there and we're fully staffed to help. Lately, I got the wild idea that Liberty needed some healthy, nutritious resources for foods because a lot of people are doing meal prep. A lot of people are wanting to do smoothies and get healthier, and we didn't have anything that would provide a holistic nutrition profile. And so I decided we had a room in the back of the store that we used for yoga and for education. I love to teach classes, and so we were using that room, but it just was being underutilized. So we turned it into a smoothie shop, and we'll also have, big word, nootropic coffees.
Wow.
And
I can't even spell that.
nootropic means a plant or herb or mushroom, fungus of some sort, anything that will cause an enhancement in cognition and memory. And so these are brain foods. So
I like to hear that.
nootropic means brain food. And so we're going to be offering those types of coffees and teas, herbal teas, just things that we do as practitioners as part of our lifestyle. Make it a little easier for me to teach everyone how to live a holistically nutritious lifestyle.
All right, so our junior producer, Oscar Cicada, he's always capping on me. He's always trying to get me. This is my mobile water bottle. Let's see if I can put it, there we go. It's my mobile water bottle, and I've got this little packet of little herbal tea that I put in here, and he's always giving me a hard time about this. This packet that I put in this water cost me about, 10 cents or something like that. So when I go to the Health Fix and I get an herbal tea, am I going to have to pull out my debit card plus, sign my rights away to my children to purchase a tea or something like that?
No, I don't want your kids. Mine are grown and I'm done. Nothing against them. They're beautiful children, but I'm just done.
Okay.
No, so now I will say this, that you get what you pay for.
Oh my gosh, that 10 cents is so wonderful.
And there are, in the nutritional supplement world, just like anything else, there's really low quality cheap stuff, and there's really great quality stuff that is going to be an investment into your health. So we're gonna be in between that bracket. So the the cool thing about the smoothie shop, everybody's been to a yogurt place, right? I got the idea actually because my daughter is at Texas State and she works at one of the yogurt shops there in Austin. And I got to thinking, if we could do this with protein and smoothies, then this might fly. And so the smoothie bar will actually be DIY. So you'll build your own, and then you'll bring us the ticket. So it's really up to you how much you invest.
Oh, okay. Well, you're trying to turn the tables on me because I purchased that little drink mix from a fairly well-known large company from the great state of Arkansas. I'm not going to say names because there's no sponsorships going on here, but it's always delicious. We've got a number of options in the area, and it's always great to have more options so that whatever suits you, you can go and get that, right?
So the cool thing about options is that now as a holistic nutritional professional, I do not do anything artificial. I don't do artificial sweeteners. I don't do fillers. I don't do anything that would cause my liver to be unhappy. Because I am a liver lover.
The liver lover. Say that 10 times fast.
And I want to take care of my liver because it's really important for me to take care of my liver. And so also certain artificial sweeteners are what we call neurotoxins. And they cause memory loss and cognition loss.
See, I'm picking up that neuro, that brain, that,
so the
that word.
Look, you only get one brain.
Oh, God.
And so a lot of us underutilize the one we have.
Well, I directed Young Frankenstein a couple of years ago, and that guy got another brain. So
I know, but that was all fantasy.
Okay, all right.
So anyway, we won't be doing anything artificial, anything filler, anything what we call, big word, excipients. We don't do excipients.
Okay, you're not going to be able to come back on if you keep bringing these SAT words to me.
Well, maybe we should get a new.
We need
dictionary.
A new venue. You're right. I need a dictionary, not a new one, just a dictionary.
That was the other thing. My dad, I had to read a page of the dictionary every night. And so I had to learn new words and vocabulary because that was a requirement for my dad. He was also career Army, so we were very disciplined.
I'm going to be honest with you. I definitely identify with that, not because of the reasons that you said, but I was so poor growing up that we had this. I lived in the day where the people came by and sold encyclopedias door to door, and so we had this full encyclopedia set, and we had this big dictionary, and we lived in the middle of the woods, and that's all I had to read.
Yeah.
And so I actually do know some larger words. I underutilize them for sure, but I do know some of them.
Yeah. So the World Book Encyclopedias.
That's what it was.
We had those as well, and we had to do all of our research papers out of those books because that's all we had.
You're making me have flashbacks now. Okay, we got about I'm gonna say about 6 minutes before we need to wrap this up, and there was something that I did want to talk to you about, and hopefully our Liberty ISD lawyer Brandon won't get me too hard for this one, because I just want some clarification on this.
Okay.
We live in a world where, there are certain states that have legalized marijuana, and there are states that have not legalized it, and then there are some states where, there's some wiggle room, but beyond that, the CBD, the THC,
Right.
I think there's some misconceptions about that, and you guys at the Health Fix, you help people manage some certain things with
Right. So
CBD, right?
Right. And I'm certified in CBD
So
science.
what like if you were in a nutshell and you had to explain this thing, what is CBD versus THC, and why is what you have better than someone just going out to somebody in a dark alley and saying, "Hey, I need some help"?
Okay. So let me start at the beginning. So CBD stands for cannabinoid, okay?
Okay.
In your body and in everyone's body, you are born with an E-cannabinoid system. What that entails is receptors throughout your body that latch on to a cannabinoid like a lock and a key. Okay? The beautiful thing about cannabinoids is that they're not just in hemp and they're not just in marijuana. Cannabinoids exist in breast milk. So when you're born, your mother, if she breastfed you, is giving you cannabinoids. So your cannabinoid system is because it's important.
Oh, I did not know that.
So backing up a little bit, where do we get these substances? From hemp. Hemp was the first cultivated crop in ancient times, like ancient Egypt. Like
Ancient, not
first,
here. Right, okay.
The first, they found hemp seeds in King Tut's tomb. So we know that it's been around for a really long time. What's cool about that is that hemp seed, hemp oil, has cannabinoids in it. It also has small amounts of THC. THC is the psychoactive part of marijuana. So not only is hemp contain cannabinoids, hops, which is what they make beer out of, is also a cannabinoid. There's many other plants that supply those, but just no one has the amount that hemp does.
Okay.
So hemp seed is legal. Hemp is legal, has been at least in certain states for a while. Marijuana is not legal, at least in Texas.
Not in Texas, right.
You can have CBD from hemp. You can have it from the citrus or orange peels.
Oh, I didn't know
Orange
that.
peels have it.
I didn't know that.
So we want to get the most concentrated version of CBD we can, and that happens to be in the hemp plant. Now, the hemp plant, in order for it's a cousin to marijuana. It looks very similar. It's a cannabis plant, but hemp is the designation given to it because it's low in THC.
Okay.
So the legal limit of THC is 0.3%. As long as hemp doesn't contain more than 0.3%, it's legal in the state of Texas. Actually, it's legal all over all 50 states. The great thing about CBD and why we love it so much is because it has such high medicinal value, such high nutritious value. It supplies the hemp plant, the CBD, CBG, CBA, all those other terpenes and alkaloids that belong in that plant. Those are beneficial also. Then you have the oil itself is an omega, which is a fatty acid that your body needs. And so CBD can regulate every system in your body because you have receptors all over your body. There's over 115 receptors known right now. They suspect there's around 300. I suspect there's a whole lot more. I think they'll find that later on. But anyway, so it regulates every system, and your body, in its own intelligence, decides where the hemp or the CBD is best going to be used. So it's different for me. Maybe I'm very inflamed and need it for overall systematic inflammation. Maybe you need it for knee pain. Regardless of CBD and its properties, your body decides how it's used, and that's what's so beautiful about it. Now, there is a small population of people that have a genetic anomaly, we'll call it. I won't get into that, but they don't respond to CBD at all. They don't have the system. So it's an enzyme that they're lacking.
So it just washes over them and does zero.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple of people those. Now, the cool thing about CBD and what I've seen selling it over the last 4 years and learning so much about it is I've seen some pretty miraculous things happen with people, especially in the older community. Things like neurological problems. CBD just supports that. And so I can't say that it heals anything or cures anything, but I can say that it nutritionally supports those systems so that the body can do what it was designed to do, and that's heal itself.
So there's always been such a negative connotation.
Yeah, you're not going to get high from it.
It's not that. Okay.
No. And so there's some designations for CBD that we use in the industry. There's full spectrum, which is just the hemp plant and the CBD oil extracted from it. Extraction matters, how they pull that oil out. You want it to be CO2 extracted, cold pressed. You don't want to heat it because it changes it. Then there's broad spectrum, which they've pulled out certain things, and every company does it differently. And then there's isolate, and CBD isolate contains no THC, no traceable THC. With the full spectrum, if you're taking very high doses over long periods of time, you could pop a drug test. So that's very possible. And I personally have not seen that happen to anyone that I have as a client. With the quality of product that we use and that we've chosen in our store, it's triple tested, it's certified that it's under the legal parameters, and that you shouldn't pop a test. And they're C of A certified, so you can go and find the C of A for that particular lot based on that's on the bottle. I've known people that have popped their drug test that have used a lesser grade or a lower quality product.
Right.
And those are available
pretty much anywhere.
Anywhere.
Get what you pay for, going back to what you said earlier.
Get what you pay for. So, I mean, those processes cost money.
Right.
And just like this, to put on a quality show, you've got to have quality equipment.
Right.
And so to put on a quality show, you got to have quality equipment.
That's
so.
right. You got to have the quality equipment. All right, Panther Nation, you've been watching LHS Live on this Wednesday, November 10th. We've been here with Betty Runkle of the Health Fix, Liberty, Texas, Main Street. You can come see her every day of the week, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Open on the first Saturday of the month right now until the smoothie shop launches. We'll probably do a grand opening in 1st of December. I'm waiting on equipment to come in and finish some things up. But
okay. Normally I like to let my guests have one final note. If I were to glean anything from you as a final thought, what would that be? What's your message to whomever is watching now or in recording?
Well, I'll just tell you, a lot of people think that putting off their health is something that they can afford to do. And our motto is, we solve your wellness problems just for the health of it. So you need to do it early. You need to get on it now, because health is cumulative. And so what you do now will affect you 10, 20 years from now. So don't wait to invest in your health.
Awesome. Thanks again for being on today, Betty.
Thanks for having
Again,
me.
Joe Roberts, LHSLive.net. We'll see you next Wednesday.
Thanks for watching every Wednesday morning from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. New guests every week on relevant topics. Community-based. Student-driven. Don't forget to tune in next week for LHS Live.